We're tracking a few scattered showers still remaining, but as we move through the next few days, sunshine returns and temperatures climb.
They can receive help and support and start to feel like their home, new home.
Thrive International breaks ground on new apartments that will help some of the communities most in need.
The bill is passed.
By one vote, the House passes President Trump's big budget bill. A look at what's in it and reaction from local lawmakers. Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News at 5 tonight. I'm Mark Hanrahan. Don't let today's rainy weather fool you. It is going to be beautiful this holiday weekend. We just have to get through some scattered showers first. Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Legoo joining us from the Outdoor Weather Center. Jeremy, at 4 o'clock, you were getting rained on. What about right now?
Mark, right now it is dry. The ground is, of course, wet, but I am dry. And if I look out to the west, I can actually see some blue sky and sun working its way through in spots. For us, it's starting to come out. 53 degrees where we sit, and yeah, that rain did cool us down, and it has been a little more of an inclement kind of day, but we are eventually going to see more sunshine and a lot of it. There's all those showers that move through, now quickly moving their way into North Idaho. Still a little bit of activity in far eastern Washington, but things are starting to wind down quite nicely. A little bit of thunderstorm activity that went over Thompson Pass, now up near Trout Creek. Here just south of Spokane, you can see some of those showers. That's down in the Palouse, that's down, say, just south of town. You can see some of those if you look over the top of the green wall I'm standing next to. Seriously, in the next 30 minutes, everything starts moving out, and overnight we calm down, and tomorrow, sunshine, and we just stay that way. 69 degrees tomorrow and sunshine taking over. I think we wake up to a few clouds, but just more and more sunshine. Saturday, all about the sun. Sunday, even more of it. 76 turns to 83. We are in the 80s by Sunday. Now, I did get rid of the 80s on Monday, but I still think the entire weekend winds up dry and warm and quite beautiful after this not so great stretch of weather we just went through.
All right, sounds good. Jeremy will check back in with you later in the broadcast. More housing is coming to North Spokane for those who may need it most. KREM 2 Shannon Mowdy was there this morning as two unlikely partners broke ground on a unique project. Shannon?
Well, the dirt was officially turned just hours ago on new apartments, a partnership between Thrive International and Spokane's public library. On this acre and a half of North Spokane dirt, a whole lot of nothing has taken root. But now something here is about to thrive. The parcel along Nevada will soon transform into Thrive International's new apartments.
Doing what I believe is a defiant act of hope. We're believing in a better world, not just pie in the sky, I hope somebody else does that, but let's build it.
For Director Mark Finney,
but I think that's what we're here to do. We're here to plant seeds of hope.
The $10 million project started with an unlikely pairing that just grew legs.
You should talk to the library. They got this piece up north.
Spokane's library bought it for a branch in the 90s. That didn't happen. Last spring, the library bought into Thrive's plan for affordable housing, selling the lot for $10.
We are laying the foundation for greater connection.
The library will run a community center, garden, and library kiosk on site. Half of the 48 apartments will be dedicated to working people and refugees, like Ukrainian immigrant Yulia Boycheva.
Also, when you are a new arrival from a different country, you do not have any rent history, credit score, you do not have money for the rent.
More than just affordable. It's housing with support services and an inclusive community.
You can meet people like you are, find new friends. You arrive without the friends, without the family typically.
As far as we know, this is the only unique public-private partnership in the country between a public library and a nonprofit to build housing together.
All right, 1, 2,
a groundbreaking moment.
Thanks, everybody. Congratulations.
For Spokane's future transplants.
They can receive help and support and start to feel like their home, new home.
Now, Finney says this project is fully funded, but they are still launching a capital campaign. Thrive didn't get as much money as anticipated in the recent state budget. We have information on how you can donate at KREM.com. Shannon Mowdy, KREM 2 News.
Through the night before narrowly passing President Trump's budget bill early this morning. The bill is making Trump's 2017 tax cuts permanent. It also cuts taxes on tips and overtime while increasing spending on military and border security. The House version of the bill now heads to the Senate, where several Republicans are not sold. Republicans are hoping to get the bill to President Trump to sign by the 4th of July. We are hearing from several of our local lawmakers following the vote in the House. Here are some of their reactions. Washington Representative Michael Baumgartner, who voted in favor of the bill, posted on social media saying, quote, "Elections have consequences, and the contrast between leadership in Washington, D.C. and Washington state is stark," he said. Washington Representative Dan Newhouse, who also voted in favor of the bill, said in a statement, "House Republicans have delivered on our commitment to permanently extend tax cuts for the middle class and small businesses while eliminating waste, fraud, and abuse within the federal government." And Idaho Republican Representative Mike Simpson writes, quote, "There was no greater time than right now to provide historic tax relief for hardworking Americans, restore energy independence, and make President Trump's border security policies permanent." Well, the bill, as we mentioned, now heads to the Senate, and we are hearing from Washington Senator Maria Cantwell. She writes, "House Republicans just voted on a bill that does nothing to lower costs on working families who needed the most help in reducing costs. This is Robin Hood in reverse," she said, robbing from the poor to give to the rich. You can read the full statements from our lawmakers on our website. Just head to KREM.com. Another story out of Washington, D.C. tonight. Police say a man who shot and killed 2 members of Israel's embassy last night outside of a Jewish museum has been charged with murder. D.C. Metro Police say they have arrested a Chicago man who allegedly shouted "Free Palestine" before being taken into custody. Israel's U.S. ambassador says the man and woman killed were a couple who were expected to get engaged in Jerusalem next week. Israel's UN ambassador called last night's shooting anti-Semitic terrorism. A small private jet crashed into a San Diego neighborhood early this morning, crushing homes and setting parked cars on fire. Authorities say at least 2 people died. 8 people on the ground were hurt. It is believed 6 people were on board the aircraft. Authorities say that plane went down in extremely foggy weather and likely clipped a power transmission line before it hit the ground. The FAA and the NTSB are now leading the investigation. New tonight at 5, the Spokane County prosecutor said today that 2 Spokane police officers were justified in their use of deadly force against a suspect in downtown Spokane last February. On February 12, 2024, Oscar Venegas was downtown near the STA Plaza on Howard Street and, according to authorities, held a box cutter-like knife to the throat of a security guard. An off-duty deputy approached Venegas and ordered him to drop the knife. Although he did put the knife down briefly, he picked it up against police, and they say he moved towards officers who had arrived at the scene. That's when 2 officers opened fire. Venegas was taken to a local hospital where he died of his wounds. Toxicology tests show a blood alcohol concentration of more than 3 times the legal limit. Also new tonight, the man who made a bomb threat on a mid-air flight from Atlanta to Seattle has been sentenced to federal prison. 40-year-old Brandon Scott made a threat on an Alaska Airlines flight back in 2023. You might remember that flight got diverted to Spokane, shutting down all air traffic for several hours. Scott was detained in Spokane and later admitted to what he had done. He'll now spend the next 22 months in prison for making those threats. We have a lot more local news ahead on KREM 2 News at 5 tonight.
I don't know anything about basketball. I've never participated in sports, and I called Chad and I said, "Do you think someone with no experience or understanding of this game could participate in any way?"
Is looking for volunteers, lots of them. We'll have that story at 5:17 tonight.
The 2025 wildfire season is upon us, and it's looking like it's going to be a hot and dry one. However, this year it comes down to us more than ever. We're going to talk ongoing mitigation efforts across the region and what it means as we get into the heat of summer. That's coming up on KREM 2 News at 6.